Bro, you gotta be fucking kidding me. What is going on, guys? It's your boy, the Randy Dandy, bringing you another Call of Duty World War II gameplay. In this video, I'm going to be watching the gameplay and doing the commentary to tell you what is going through my mind and how I did so well in this gameplay to get the V2. I'm going to go over lots of tips and tricks and basically how you can achieve something like this yourself. It's a good feeling. It makes the game a lot of fun, kind of gives you something to strive for because it is difficult to do. Especially in Call of Duty World War II, which is some of the aspects of the game. First place I always like to start is from the ground up. Having a proper class, having a good foundation is how you're going to get started with this. I like to run the armored division. What this does for me is it gives me less fire damage, gives me less grenade damage, even more so than Hunker, because the actual division is always stronger than the special basic training unlocked by prestiging it. It also reduces flinch. Now this really isn't a problem anymore, just due through various patches. Once primed was removed, there's not a whole lot of flinch in the game, but removing it even more just makes those one-on-one gunfights so much easier. I also like to run hustle. The reload animations in this game are very slow, and because of that, I really have to take my time and play a lot smarter rather than this run and gun gameplay. I must have heard someone behind me here. Yep, that guy was camping. The run and gun gameplay is really the best way to get the V2. Camping is not really going to work very well for you. But as far as the rest of the class, I am using the PPSH. With the PPSH, a lot of people will use extended mags. I'm not a big fan of extended mags. I like to have a quicker aim down sight and have all the attachments to make it good at range, such as rifling. And that is my class setup. Now, as far as how I'm playing, like I was talking about before, you really can't camp and get a V2. Camping is awesome. You're not going to die, but in a game mode like this, you're not going to get enough kills camping. You have to run around, you have to actively seek out the kills because, for those of you who don't know, maybe you're still new to the game, V2 can only be achieved through natural gun kills. It cannot be achieved through any kill streaks. So you do have to be on the search, on the hunt for those kills, which camping will definitely prevent you from not dying, but it's not going to get you the amount of kills necessary to get the V2 before the game is over. Now, the way you're going to want to play this is you're going to look around and you're going to have to pay attention to your mini-map and have some spatial awareness, but the best way to get this is by predicting the spawns. Now, I'm not saying spawn trapping. Spawn trapping is where you know exactly where they're going to spawn, and you incorporate camping and you stare at a certain location, knowing that there's no way they can get out, and you shoot them or whatever you got to do once they come off spawn. It's a little bit scummy, but it is very effective. What I would be talking about is simply predicting the spawns. Using domination as an example with your 3 points, whatever position is held is where the team is going to spawn, whether that's the left, right, and middle around the position that they hold, whether it's A or C is typically the primary spawn points. If the team does control B while your team controls A and C, the game is still primarily going to spawn them around one of those bases. The way Call of Duty is set up in World War II is that they have home bases. So even if you control B, it's going to try and force you to spawn and take either an A or C position. So when they control B, just be aware. It's very hard to predict because you don't know if the last guy who died is going to spawn A or if he's going to spawn C. So you really got to be careful. Primarily what you want to do is hold 2 bases, whether that's A and B dom or C and B dom. Once you have those 2 bases, whatever's remaining, they're going to spawn either left, right, or middle of that. Middle usually being just a little bit behind the actual point itself. So what you can do, as long as you are spatially aware of where your teammates are at, you can roam around the map in various locations, and you have a predetermined spot where you can aim, knowing that there's X amount of chance that there's a guy who's going to be there. Doing this and just being aware as you're playing making sure your teammates have one of the flanks covered or whatever the case may be. You can very easily predict movements, keep yourself alive, and get a very high amount of kills because you're going to be actively searching for those kills as opposed to waiting for them to come to you. During that gameplay, one thing you might have noticed is as soon as we hit about 70, I started playing much more cautiously, not really pushing out of B-Dom or my home base. Just to let you know what's going through my mind, I at that point became aware, okay, I've got a large number of kills. A lot of them were from paratroopers, but just being cognizant of my own abilities, I know that a lot of them were also gun kills. So I played a little bit more passive, actually wasted a paratrooper just to make sure all my flanks were covered so I could stay alive for the next round, kind of regather myself. What I'm doing here is by going into this center point, I am positioning myself where people are going to come. I know there's a high chance of kills, but I'm taking it slow for the simple fact that, okay, I know that, hey, I'm real close, I might be a little panicky, making sure my hands aren't shaking, just calming myself down, getting myself set up, and as you just saw, it worked out great. I saw somebody jump on B. I knew 100% that there was at least one guy on B base. Let me throw a grenade, let me not push it with the gun, and hope for the best, and it obviously worked out, and that's just a good example of spatial awareness. The way I kind of play this game out for the next little bit is I said, okay, I've got my V2, I'm not level 1000 yet, and so I want to get as much XP as possible. I do continue to play a little bit passively, because after you get your V2 and Vicious Metal, the kills after that produce a medal called Unstoppable. Now, Unstoppable, each medal is actually worth a certain amount of XP, and all it takes to get it is one kill, continuing the streak. Right here, you'll see I'm a little bit aggravated. This is a good example of spatial awareness backfiring. My teammate was right in front of me, and I was watching kind of left, right, and back, just keeping myself aware, having faith that the teammate right in front of me was going to be my first line of defense, and as you can see, the other gentleman just ran right past him and shot me. So having a little bit of confidence in my teammate there got me killed. The rest of the gameplay is a little bit frustrating for me. For many of you that have played the game for a while or other Call of Duties, once you do a certain amount of damage to the enemy team, they like to turtle a little bit. They don't really want to leave their home base, so I sit here for a minute and actually load a couple shots into people. I even come back around and continue trying to push because I don't want to camp. I don't believe in camping as a legitimate way to play the game. But with the way they're turtling, I realize, okay, I got to back off. They're not wanting to leave their home base. Oh, they're here. Look, there's two guys. Let me take them out real quick. But because they're going to turtle in their base, it makes it very hard for me to push in. Like right here, I continue to push in, but at this point, I've got two teammates on me because not everybody's trying to leave their spawn. I continue the game at this point, just really trying to have fun. I've gotten my V2, just try to get some more kills and stack up on top of that. The rest of the gameplay gets a little rough because people are not exactly trying to push out. The other team is no longer trying to win to the game. They really just want to get as many kills as possible and continue the gameplay. Some other things to take into account beyond just your spatial awareness, the class you're using, is going to be your actual gun skill. A lot of big YouTubers want to tell you need a scuff controller, you need control freaks, you need all this stuff you can buy. Call of Duty's not a pay-to-win game. We've seen that by loot crates because Lord knows we never get anything good with any of the supply drops. What you actually have to do is just practice. You're not going to be able to magically make something happen by just putting money into it. You're going to have to dedicate a little bit of time in order to, perfecting your aim and just basically winning those key gunfights, even if it's more or less just keeping your streak alive by winning one gunfight versus, the guy who just runs in and mows everybody down. Some other things to take into account with the game when you're playing is you may not necessarily start every game going for a V2, but it is important to remember once you get a large amount of kills, become aware of that and start trying to further that. If you're playing and you realize that, okay, I've gotten a large amount of kills, change up your play style a little bit. Enemy teammates are not dumb people. They will adapt. They will get better. They'll realize, your rush routes and your spawn predictions, and they'll play a little bit differently. So you have to change your strategy. You have to become aware. Okay, I'm gonna get this V2. Here's what I need to do, and just conduct yourself accordingly. Man, it's crazy. You're watching the video. Look at me. I'm tapping Y over and over again because I'm so hyped after getting this. Some other things to take into account, again, are your teammates. I relied way too much on my teammate in that spatial awareness. That was a little bit of my fault right there, because you can't rely on TIMMYS as much as the other team has randoms that you're mowing down for your V2. Your team is a bunch of TIMMYS too, so you just gotta kind of be your own player and do the best you can. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and comment how many V2s you've gotten below. Let me know, what your count is and how I stack up against you, and leave me a comment for any questions or what I should put in the next video as far as tips and tricks go. Hope you guys enjoy your night. Peace.